This family makes about $129,000 a year. That sounds safe. 2 full-time incomes, 2 kids, a normal home, health insurance, reliable cars. Nothing about this looks reckless. But income is not the same thing as breathing room. After taxes, payroll deductions, and family health coverage, that number becomes roughly $8,200 a month in usable cash. Then the month begins. Housing takes the first bite. Childcare takes the second. Transportation keeps both jobs possible. Food, utilities, and healthcare keep landing quietly. And by the end, this family is not deciding how much to save. They are trying to protect about $100. This is Ryan and Elena's household income, about $129,000 a year. On paper, that sounds safe. It sounds like the kind of number that should create options, savings, maybe even a little breathing room. But income is not the same thing as margin. After taxes, payroll deductions, and the employee share of family health coverage, that annual number becomes roughly $8,200 a month in usable cash. And before the month really begins, the big costs start arriving: housing, childcare, transportation, food, healthcare. The ordinary things that keep 2 adults working and 2 kids cared for. By the time the normal month is done, this family is not building wealth. They are trying to protect a sliver. Ryan and Elena are not a cautionary tale about luxury spending. They are not trying to live like millionaires. They are the kind of family that looks stable from the outside. 2 jobs, 2 kids, a home in a decent area, health insurance, reliable transportation, daycare because both parents work, groceries, utilities, school costs, a few recurring charges that make modern life function. Nothing here looks outrageous by itself, and that is the point. The budget does not break because of one ridiculous decision. It breaks because the normal version of middle-class life has become a stack of fixed commitments. The first major cost is housing. For renters, the median gross rent in 2024 was about $1,487, and the median renter was already spending 31% of income on rent. For buyers, the pressure can be even sharper. At 2025 rates, buying the median home required about 30% of median family income, with 20% down, and more than 35% with a small down payment. Those numbers can sound familiar enough to feel normal, but normal is not the same as safe. For Ryan and Elena, housing takes about $32,600 a month. It is not a mansion, it is not a fantasy home. It is the price of being near jobs, school, and childcare in a market where the monthly payment arrives before everything else. Then comes the cost that makes 2 incomes possible: childcare. The national average childcare price in 2024 was about $13,128 for 1 child. But Ryan and Elena have 2 young kids, and the overlap is where the math gets brutal. In 45 states plus DC, center-based care for 2 children costs more than annual mortgage payments. In 49 states plus DC, it costs more than median annual rent. That means childcare is not a side expense. For many families, it behaves like a second housing payment. And emotionally, that is hard to process. Because childcare is supposed to be temporary, just a few years, just until school starts. But those years overlap with the exact moment when housing, car costs, student debt, and early family expenses are all peaking at the same time. Transportation rarely gets the same attention as housing or childcare. But in a 2-income household, it often becomes the cost of keeping both jobs. One parent needs to get to work. The other needs to get to work. Someone needs to get to daycare before the late fee starts. Groceries still have to be picked up. Appointments still happen across town. The average household transportation spend in 2024 was about $13,318 a year. Vehicle insurance alone rose more than 12% in 1 year, and the average one-way commute was about 27 minutes. For Ryan and Elena, transportation is not a luxury line. It is the machinery that allows the income to exist. After the big three, the budget does not get easier. It just gets quieter. Food does not arrive as one terrifying invoice. It arrives one card at a time. Utilities arrive 1 month at a time. Healthcare arrives twice, first inside the paycheck, then again when someone actually needs care. In March 2026, food away from home was up 3.8% year over year. Electricity was up 4.6%. Natural gas was up 6.4%. Over the same period, real average hourly earnings were up only 0.3%. Then healthcare adds another layer. In 2025, employer family coverage averaged nearly $27,000. Workers paid about $6,850 toward that premium, and insurance still does not erase deductibles, copays, prescriptions, or medical debt. This is why the family can feel confused. Nothing feels extravagant, but every ordinary category is taking a little more of the same paycheck. Now put the month together. Ryan and Elena start with about $82,500 in usable monthly income. Housing takes $3,260. Childcare takes about $2,050. Transportation takes $1,110. Food takes about $850. Healthcare beyond the paycheck takes another $180. Then the basics that never disappear: school costs, household goods, phone, internet, clothes, small repairs, birthday gifts, field trips, the random charge that always seems to arrive at the wrong time. That is about $700 more. And after all of it, the margin is not a cushion. It is a rounding error, about $100. This is why the math feels so strange. Each cost can be defended alone. Housing is normal. Childcare is necessary. Transportation enables work. Food is not optional. Healthcare is responsible. The failure is not one bad line item. The failure is the stack. And then reality asks for cash. Not a vacation, not a luxury purchase, just a normal disruption. A car repair, an urgent care visit, a broken appliance, a week where childcare changes and one parent loses hours. Make it $1,000. For a household with $100 of margin, that is not an inconvenience, it is a deficit. And this is where the emotional contradiction becomes clear. Ryan and Elena both work. The income is real, the effort is real, the exhaustion is real, but the margin is not. That does not mean there are no choices. It means the leverage points are not the tiny ones people like to argue about. The real leverage is in the large fixed commitments: housing location and renewal timing, childcare structure, employer benefits, tax withholding, transportation dependence, debt terms, and the size of the emergency buffer. Those are not easy levers. They are not moral judgments, but they are where the math actually moves. Because for many families, the question is no longer, are we working hard enough? The question is, did the system leave us any room to absorb real life? So if this feels familiar, the point is not that you failed because you bought the wrong coffee, picked the wrong grocery brand, or forgot to cancel one subscription. Those things can matter at the edge. But the edge exists because the big costs got there first. Housing, childcare, transportation, healthcare, food. The infrastructure of a normal family life now claims the paycheck before the paycheck becomes security. For Ryan and Elena, two incomes are real. The work is real. The exhaustion is real. But the breathing room is almost imaginary. And that is the quiet contradiction of modern middle-class life. Both adults can be working. The household can look stable. And one ordinary bill can still turn the month upside down. What is the bill that took the most breathing room from your household? Housing, childcare, healthcare, transportation, or food?